So just to capture Wayne, so
Yep.
are you in support of fees, or are you in support of, I just want to...
Fees?
Yeah.
Is that what you just asked me?
So are you...
From my experience,
Yeah, so...
I wouldn't do it the way you're thinking. I've had to sit and put things in planning like this, and this is a little off the wall. Very off the wall. I've never heard anybody do this before. Look, if you want to kick it, Rhode Island, it's $5 per bee, blah, 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 blah. That's how they basically set it up. Okay, I wouldn't mind kicking you guys $5. You know, have my name. I don't like the concept of a list. You know, I got really involved in this. If anybody's seen me on the internet, you know my bees got sprayed by corn 2 years ago, and I'd already warned the department. So help me God, if that happens, all hell will break loose. That's why we're in this room today. I'm not done yet. I have my local representatives working with me on this, and it's nonstop. And I'm winning. I'm getting closer and closer. So fees, here's your problem. Do you want the hives to go into hiding? We know, you and I know it's American foul brood, really what we're talking about here. I mean, it was bad then. You know, we know what's going on in some areas. American foul brood back up to 87 is really the last official one I saw, but I did bee inspection for 40 years too. And it's a, boy, I'll tell you, yeah, I think most people would cooperate with you, especially, you know, it wasn't $500 for a hive back then either. So it's all different. So fees and stuff, I sit here kind of going, what do you guys want? It's not what I want. I mean, you know, yeah, let's talk fees. Hey, how's that sound?
I just want to make sure, like, don't want to miss your comments. So.
Yeah, right, and it's about fees, yes or no. I wouldn't mind paying into $5, okay. You know, Rhode Island, they don't, you know, they have the same thing. You pay $5, that's it. Not per hive. This per hive stuff was nuts. You couldn't find a hive. I'll be quick. $5 a hive back then? Go. Oh, yeah, I've said my piece.
My only concern, you know, what you're talking about is in Pittsfield, they charge, you need a permit, and people are in hiding. And if they're the ones who get American foul brood, you're never going to find out about it. Exactly. And putting everybody in, and that's for a permit in town, never mind having you.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are saying that I talked to said they'll be sitting on their porch with the shotgun and going to shoot you guys in the ass if you come on their property. And we're New Englanders. I know you're not from New England. I can really tell you that.
No, it's worse down there. It's worse down there, yeah.
But that's my concern, is people who start, when there is a problem, won't share it, we won't know, and...
So basically, from your side, Russ, that if we did implement a system where people have to register hives or put a fee system in place, you're concerned that people may not disclose the location of their bees. Maybe they may.
You're not doing it now for
Yeah,
$25.
that's what it now.
It's just not going to work. This is Massachusetts, and people are very protective of their assets, rights of privacy, etc.
And just add to his, this is my comment, it just, you know how hard it is to find a box in the back of a house, the back of a yard, when you know it's there? How long have you wandered around and someone called you on the phone and you... We didn't have cell phones then, you know. No, so, anyways.
What would be the advantage of having a fee for inspection? Why is that even an issue?
So I think the only thing that would be an advantage for having fees for inspection is that some of the states use those fees supposedly to generate funds for the program. So they would be pumped directly back into the program. The problem is we have a general budget. So like any of the inspections that are done in our department or any fees that are generated go back into the general budget. So that's why I was wanting to have Tara.
Not just the general budget, Kim. It goes into the general fund,
exactly,
which is then money that the legislature can decide whether or not they're going to kick back to NDAR or use for other purposes to balance other programs that may be. So there's no direct relationship between any money paid under the apiary program to the funding of the apiary program. It all depends on having an arrangement with sufficient legislators to get the money that goes in back into the program. It's very tenuous. It doesn't work a lot of the time. So you can't say this money is going to help us do other things. There's no guarantee. We'd all like that to be the case, but there's no guarantee.
Kim, I think through this whole process, and I think everybody will agree with me, is that you have to keep in mind that it should not be punitive to the beekeeper. It should be supportive of the beekeeper. So that's the bottom question. Every time you make a change, does this support the beekeeper or is it punitive? Because you will not get cooperation if it becomes punitive. And I think we do want to inspire cooperation, we want to inspire teamwork, and we want to support our beekeepers to keep this going. because you'll find another extinct species happening, and that's called the beekeeper.
I don't think anybody in this room wants any.
No, nobody wants to see that happen, exactly.
Okay, so I think so I don't want to curb anyone's comments, I definitely want to capture them all, but I'm thinking maybe we sort of jump straight into that, because I know that was something that I caught from Wayne's comments, but I do want to make sure we go back to disease at some point, so we can definitely continue down this path, so, yeah, for sure.
Just to add a last comment here, so I've been advising different cities and municipalities on permitting, and when it comes to fees, it seems like a common thread comes down to a social justice issue,
Okay.
so it makes the program more accessible certainly, and I think more successful when there's no fee associated with it to the best of the program's ability.
Okay.
And that could help be a model for other states even, so I think it could lead to more success in a better program without a fee.
I question whether there's anyone here who would support a fee.
I wouldn't. Can we hear what Dr. Callahan has to say here?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Well, what I wanted to say is nothing any different than a lot of other people, but this basically should be treated like a public health issue. You know, the pollinator protection and saving bees is a big issue. I mean, you have a whole plan that's a national plan now. Charging and bee inspections, the goal of bee inspection in the state, in my opinion, should be that every single hive gets inspected every year. And I think that should, frankly, we're not talking about your pollinator protection plan, but I think that ought to be a metric in your plan. And in having it cost money or having it not mandatory where people have to go and ask to be inspected, exactly the opposite of what you want to do. Because the people who don't want to be inspected are exactly the people we need to have inspected. So excuse me?
I respectfully disagree.
Well, that's fine, but let me finish, all right? And it just needs to be, people need to be inspected because people that have disease don't know they have disease, which, you know, we have hundreds of beginning beekeepers every year in the state. Our club just had its first bee school meeting last night. I understand there were 320 people there. We had to go and stop enrolling people last February. So, I mean, the number of new beekeepers in the state's enormous, and they don't know what they're doing the first year. None of us did, right? So they have AFB or they have disease. They don't know they have it in most cases, so they need to be inspected, and it should be free. Now, you know, raising bees is really a public service at this point, especially for hobbyists. Because what you're really doing is that's where the genetic diversity is going to come in. That's where an awful lot of, frankly, the base of saving bees is not going to come from commercial people. It's going to come from hobbyist people that have a few hives. They're scattered all over the country. You're going to get gene pools expansion. Is very important. So charging people to be beekeepers is an oxymoron, I think.
Just to add a quick follow-up, the point I disagree about is the danger of the overarching government will force upon beekeepers that the government has to see what you're doing. There's so much variation across beekeeping, and I do think people, experienced beekeepers, are knowledgeable enough to say, something happened, I'm going to fix this. And I think it's important to allow beekeepers that independence. So I would like to see, at least my vote, to go in for a service that is supportive but not overarching.
Right. Well, I understand you're in the business of doing that, but you know, the fact is, I think it would be like, you know, we have public health laws for human health, where you know you have to report certain diseases. I'm as much for personal independence and freedom. Anybody knows my politics. I'm a borderline libertarian, but the fact is, when it comes to public health, there are some things that have to be. For the good of all, have to be there, and I think that really extends at this stage into beekeeping and frankly into environmental protection generally. You know, you just can't throw chemicals out your window into the streams and things. You need some regulations on this, and I think with bees, the diseases and the way that bees work, where they just simply fly around and rob. The only way you're going to have any kind of, my bees are going to be healthy is if my neighbor's bees are healthy.
I just want to second what Dick was saying about beekeeping as a public health issue, or the approach to apiary inspection as being akin to a public health issue. I totally agree. And whatever is done with these regulations, I think First of all, the statute makes it clear that the apiary inspector has the ability to enter property and inspect, and it's clearly designed to address things like foul brood. And whatever happens with these regulations, they should not in any way undercut what exists in the statute.